Hello folks, and the mystery has been revealed. My mystery new mini amp the Hotone Purple Wind. Yep, this big one, Hotone's Nano Legacy. What I was playing in the intro here was exactly what you see here on the dial. Actually, I might have had, it was more like that. Maybe. Yeah, that looks about right. I had basically everything turned up, and volume was maxed out and the gain was there, and yeah, so again, in comparison to me, in comparison to my hand, this is basically it. Nano Legacy Series amplifier. This 5 watts. What you heard there in the opening was again me playing through the 12-inch speaker of my PV Viper, which again, like I said, is there's almost no point in me dumping. Probably could be anywhere between $100 and $400 to repair it, and I think it's either a transformer or some caps, and it's a 5-year-old, maybe even more than that, amp, so it's probably seen its life, and I don't know, maybe see what I can get for it, dump it into something better. But anyways, for the time being, what more can I say about this little guy here? And again, on the front, you have your on-off switch. You have a bass, middle, treble. You have bass, middle, treble, as well as over here a volume and a gain. And of course, here is your mic, or sorry, your guitar jack input. On the back, again, it runs on an 18-volt adapter. There's a line-out / headphone jack, which is what I was playing the initial samples through, and the rest were actually through the speaker out, which actually goes between 4 ohm and 16 ohm. So if you had an individual speaker or cab that could run that range, that can put the 5 watts through, then you can go for it. And again, another unique thing about this little thing is it has an effects send and return loop. So I guess the way Hotone did it is Hotone also has their own little mini effects pedals that are not very much bigger than this, maybe even as big as that little purplish area here where my fingers are, maybe even like that. In regards to the little LED light in here, actually when it's dark, it actually will glow up in here a little bit, so it kind of gives it like this cool kind of like little, looks like a tube's going in there. But as far as I know, everything about this is solid state, and it's 5 watt. Now, what have I found since having this since Monday? The EQ, when you were hearing some of those previous sound samples, was pretty much dead flat. So exactly like that, dead flat. And to me, through headphones or even through the speakers, or sorry, even through the speaker, it made it sound very neutral and not all that appealing. Whereas what you just heard in the opening part to this video, I showed you how it was set up. As soon as you start moving these equalizers around, it does actually become effective, so there's a positive about it. The gain works relatively well. This does seem to have a good amount of distortion to it. Again, this purple wind is supposed to be modeled after a Marshall Superplexy, I think. And to me it kind of sounds it, but again, it's hard to tell considering it's 8 watts. I'm driving it through only a 12-inch speaker by itself, or through headphones. Not these headphones, but 2 other pairs that I had back here. I'll just quickly grab them if I can. Just cheap headphones. With these Colbys, it seemed like it had a small enough driver that it actually drove them pretty well this when you actually played it at the lower volume set. Now these bigger El Cheapo Sylvanias with the larger driver, sound didn't sound that well through them. I pretty much would have to turn up the full volume to get full volume out on it. So what else can I say about this? I haven't tried the effects loop yet. Again, when I've practically only got a wah and 2 fuzz pedals, that's kind of a hard thing to do. In the way of the volume on this, I'd say at that setting with the volume at about 9 o'clock and the gain 0, it's got to be what, like half a watt or something. It's really not usable, and it isn't until you probably start getting it around there, and eventually right at noon where you start to hear a little bit of volume. As you heard from with the recordings, you could actually hear this a bit, especially when I enabled the boost on my line. You could actually hear it picking up the this synthetic hum sound, because it's supposed to be replicating a class AB amp, but in actual volume it seems like it's around here, around the noon mark, where you start getting the volume. And again, when you start rolling it past noon into the 1, into like the 2-3 o'clock range, that's when it really gets loud. And I mean, how you heard it there was like the volume maxed and the gain turned up just a little bit. When it's in that low, when it's around that noon range on the dial, it doesn't seem very loud. But as soon as you like push it past like to around 1, that's when it really opens up. And with how loud it sounds, especially with pushing the 12-inch speaker of my Viper throughout the speaker out, which is then it's a 16 ohm speaker. It really does start to move a little bit of air, and it does get fairly loud. So that's pretty much it. The Hotone Purple Wind. Let me know what you thought about it. My opinion is that it's for $99, that's all this is, with the features that it has. It's definitely worth it if you just want a little amplifier to play through headphones or through a little speaker or something like that. I think this would be perfect. Their full line of pedals, would also be probably pretty cool to use as well too. Their Mesa Dual Rec one, the Bleeding Heart, is pretty metally, and the British Invasion, which is their Vox AC30, sounds pretty much like it, but I didn't get either because I didn't want too much gain or not enough gain. So this pedal seems to kind of fit that middle just kind of perfect. So again, enough of my rambling. Let me know what you thought. If it was surprisingly good, surprisingly bad, indifferent. Catch you later.